Most leadership programs are built for stable systems, clear rules, predictable institutions, high trust.
What are high trust environments? It's a handshake, it's a table.
But that's not the terrain most leaders are operating in. Here, trust is fragile.
We cannot accept this brand because it doesn't have the word insurance.
Power moves informally, institutions are uneven, capital is asymmetrical. And growth, succession, or visibility doesn't always reduce risk, sometimes it increases it. In these environments, leadership failure rarely comes from lack of intelligence or effort. It comes from poor judgment under pressure. When the terrain is misread, even capable leaders make costly, irreversible decisions not because they are weak, but because the system they are operating from is incomplete. The African Founder Operation System, AFOS, was built for this reality. AFOS is not a course, it is an operating system for leadership under pressure. It is designed to help leaders think clearly, decide deliberately, and act with integrity.
The genesis of this conversation is around understanding what keeps founders breathing and moving and not giving up.
When the environment itself is unstable,
It's great to be here again with Founders Battlefield. It's been an interesting journey, and thanks for the feedback we've been receiving. We've had interesting feedback, very great recommendations. We've been given areas where we need to optimize our show, but again, we are here for you. Our vision remains. It's not, we don't give descriptive solutions, but it's for you as an audience to be able to take what you learn from the show and execute it in your own life as an entrepreneur or an upcoming entrepreneur. Today, episode talks about the hustle delusion. We are a hustler nation, naturally, as you already understand, but sometimes not all hustles lead to output. Sometimes we are too busy. We wake up in the morning and find we are extremely busy, but we keep asking, are we creating incremental value? Or are we just living to sustain ourselves? So today's conversation, the hustle, the delusion, is we ask ourselves, when hard work isn't enough, does hard work really pay, or is it incremental hard work, or is it being smart? But also today, in an age where artificial intelligence, AI, you've got a whole new workforce, you've got a whole new way of thinking. The world has become almost flat. How do you think? How do you execute? How do you scale? I'm Mike Macharia. I'm the founder and of two businesses, or multiple businesses, in healthcare and in technology. And I'm here with great entrepreneurs, and I'm happy to be the host. With me today, and I start from that side. I would like to start ladies only, maybe, but I'll go. Let me go clockwise. I think they say I don't want to tempt fate. Let me go clockwise. The first person I have with me here is George Ikua. George has to tell me why it took him significant amount of persuasion and effort, yet when I meet him socially, he holds me down for 4 hours in conversations. So I told him, enough. It's time we shared our conversations with others. So George, welcome.
Thank you. Do I answer now?
No, I'll introduce you, but we'll come back to you, George. This is George. You can see him here. The next great person, George, you'll speak. Soon we're going to be with you. The next, an amazing person is Suzie Wokabi, who, to be honest, I reached out to Suzie, and within 10 minutes, we had an alignment of why we need to do this. So you can see the difference in terms of, I think women are taking the leadership role in terms of wanting to say their stories. So Suzie just told me, Mike, to Kondani. So Suzie, I really appreciate you coming. Thanks a lot for that. And I want to get more women stepping up in this. So Suzie.
Thank you.
Thanks to have you here. And then finally, we have a good friend of mine, Kaburo Karaoke, who I've known for a few years, many years in the technology industry. His story is also very interesting, having gone through trials and tribulations, but he's here with us. You can see he's comfortable. He's also going to tell us how things are going. So, Karaoke.
Glad to be here.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah.
So today's conversation, and as I move into our usual structure of this conversation, what we do, we lay the foundation of our conversation, and we let our great people, our great founders, we call them guys in the arena. These are people who chose to come and see their stories. First, let's understand what it takes to be here. To be here, it means mentally, you've already accepted that you're going to share your story. So it's already a win mentally. Number two, you've also agreed that you need to share your story for the next generation of entrepreneurs, not to go through this. So I really give you guys kudos for being the kind of people who step up and have this conversation. Whether good or bad, we've all gone through this conversation. Recently, I featured other entrepreneurs who had significant backlash, and I said, we're going to hold on, because it's his position to say his story. But if he doesn't say his story, it's his, you're given a stage. You say what you need to say. So today is, again, our conversation. People are going to watch who you don't know, but you could be making a difference in somebody's life, who somebody seated somewhere, constantly going, churning nothing, but doing a lot of work that doesn't yield anything. So as we then start, would like to start with George. Let us lay the foundation. George, really, it's great to have you here.
Yes.
Please do justice to the show as you do it when I meet you socially, okay? So over to you, George. George, welcome, and Kaburo, welcome, and Suzie, welcome. So George, over to you. Let's lay the foundation. When I sent you this topic, I think you guys selected this topic. We have many topics. We've got 36 or 37 more, 35 more topics to do coming up. So why did you choose this topic? And why did you choose to show up today?
I think, so I'm in the middle of Hustle 9 or something like that. So I've had this very interesting entrepreneurial journey where I've been through a cycle of businesses, but it took me a very long time to realize, like, so when we met, my first business was a CRM. If you remember, I used to do a CRM.
You tried to sell me?
Yes.
I even gave you business.
Yes. What he's calling business is our bill here. Don't listen to him. But he gave me a chance, and I remember it was through you that then we got to a large telco and very many other things, and what happened is that I ran that business for 7 years, and where my things crumbled is when I lost, when I brought on people who I had not asked what they were seeing. So I was seeing a 6, they were seeing a 9. And not because of anything bad, not because that the 9 was wrong. In fact, we eventually became very good friends after that. But so the business could not handle one person seeing 6 and one person seeing 9. And instead of innovating again, and this is where I come back to the hustle story, I then pivoted away. So at every huge roadblock, what I have always done in my business is at every huge block, I reinvent in another space. And so why I chose this is that has initially led me to being, you're called a serial entrepreneur, but what you're doing is you're going up and then you start again like that. And that starting a business is hard. It's very, very hard. But then you get so used to the hard so that even when it's costing, you're actually even looking for more hard. So you're not used to things working. And where the space I am right now, I can say is actually my best business, because I have learned that the real thing about being business is when you're utilizing what comes naturally to you. So if I ask what are your characteristics, I'm a great orator. I can take an idea from an idea to reality. What am I? I'm terrible at ops. I'm terrible at managing teams. I'm terrible at but engaging, bringing the idea, putting people together and all that. So this is the first business where we actually are just a consortium of companies, which I'm heading in one direction. So it removes me from the ops space. So what has that done? It's a series of things. So the problem with business is that you leave that way behind you. They're like children of yours that you abandoned. And you feel, I let you down. So it's almost like an embarrassment, like you have is bastard an English word? Like you have a bastard out there who you are not taking care of. And that brings shame to you as an entrepreneur. And you always say, when I get my mind to work, I will go and apologize downstream what we didn't do. And for me, when you called me, I said, man, I have this new young baby. This baby does not need distractions about those bastard children of mine out there that I abandoned. I don't need, and I was like, that is going to interrupt. And I'll be honest. Peter Ndwati, who was with you, I think episode 2 or 3, someone who called me, he said, George, who told you this is not going to be like the other children? What you're not seeing is that you're raising this child, this business, way better because of your first 4 mistakes. So, and he told me, just pick those 4, go tell the country. You might save people making the same 4 mistakes. And you'll even just double down on why you're doing it this way. Because for the first time when I explained to him what I was doing, and he said, now you're in your element. You remember when I met you, I cut my teeth as a software developer. But if anyone who meets me, I'm a storyteller. He's a talker. So they would say, you're very misaligned. How are you writing software and you're a talker? So half at night I was coding, during the day I was marketing. And that's how we did it. It was sales info at the time. I was selling the CRM. Yes. And those are the things. It's when you hit your natural state. So when you move away from, it's what we talked in the break before we came and about, it's not the opportunity. It's the opportunity to use your talent. Just because I know, like we're making fun of somebody who can buy wine and I know a supplier, that doesn't mean you start a business. Because if it's not in your natural element to run a distribution company, you have no business being in wine business. So it's that hustle of thinking, I have to always be, how do I say, you align to the opportunity. Let opportunities align to your natural talent. Things that are not for you are not for you. And when you're in a natural state, like Mike, this thing is you. Leadership, direction, big thinking. I've always known, since we were with you in Strat, that's you. You dream big, you think big, you execute big. And I think what you're doing right now is your natural element. And for me, why I'm here is to really tell the story of my bastard children who are out there looking for their father. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, that is like, I like that. So today we're going to learn about your bastard
My bastard children. I'll tell you the 4 of them. Very nice.
But we're not saying we're not going to forsake them.
We're not going to forsake them.
You're going to learn from the experience.
We're going to learn from them.
I told you you're a storyteller. It's incredible. So now we go to Suzie. Suzie, are you saying you seen your friend here? Suzie.
My friend is too funny.
Suzie, it was great to have you, and it's great having you here. So really, let's go. Let's lay the foundation. I'm very keen to first of all, I found just as good. I found that every day I meet entrepreneurs in this show, I'm learning more and more. It's like you're so superficial what you think you know about people. You meet them socially, but now I'm finding when I sit here, I say, my God, I never knew Suzie really.
Yeah.
So Suzie, let me get to know you.
Hi.
Yes.
Very glad to be here. This is so interesting. And like we talked before, I know this is going to be like a full therapy session. So I don't need to pay a therapist after this, I think.
No.
Delusion. Dululu is the Sululu. I never, ever would have imagined that I'm an entrepreneur. Well, ever, right? I was always going to be, employed. I call myself a beautypreneur, though, not an entrepreneur. So when I moved back home after 10 years in the US, came back home to work in the media makeup industry. So my background is in fashion and beauty. But coming back home, I didn't know, fashion was not an option. Beauty was my complete passion and love. And I was working in media makeup, very happily so, and then found a gap in the retail cosmetic space. All the products were imported and not even for us, blah, blah, blah. So I decided to make my own. You have to be delusional like that, right? Nobody, so that's why Suzie Beauty, that's the brand, is Kenya's first homegrown beauty brand, because before that, there was nothing ever made locally for us. So it's always going to be, the first brand by an African woman for the African woman. So, and why? Everyone asks, they're like, are you crazy? Like, why did you think you can? And I'm like, because I thought I could. So that journey was its own little animal, because there's no one to look to. I'm the one who went into the forest to cut down the trees for the next batch to follow me, right? I'm only looking to what was out there, and so it was tough. But the product, for me, product is everything, right? So the product development was wonderful. Running the business, a whole nother ballgame, right? My co-founder was my husband, who at least managed some of the back end. You said your ops situation is not great. I'm zero. And then my title was CEO by force, because we were two of us. So CEO and founder. And then he had his own title. Building a team from scratch and building a product line and getting the product into the market. My friend Caroline Mutoko, until today, keeps harping on about when she interviewed me one time for her station. Where was she? What radio? Kiss.
Kiss, yes.
Yeah. And she tried to create a lipstick line for many, many years that sort of sat on the counter, and she just couldn't imagine doing it. And I came out with, 30-something products. She's like, why? Are you mad? I'm like, but how can I create an eyeliner without the foundation and the lipstick, and everything has to go together. You need everything for the full face. For me, just that's only what made sense. They all have to. You need face, you need eyes, you need lips. How can I do lips and then send them somewhere else to buy eyes, and then send them somewhere else to buy face? No, I have to. Yeah. So anyway, that's part of the Dululu. And yes, so put the brand in the market very successfully. So my main problem was running out of product. It's that thing of it's a good problem and a bad problem, because we're out of stock because of the uptake, and but reordering problems and investor problems and anyway, sold the brand. The brand was acquired 4 years later into running it, because I was looking for stronger backing partners who came about at the end of meeting many people, and was the Flame Tree Group, who insisted on full acquisition. So for me, you talk about bastard children, it was literally, I think, like giving up my child for adoption, because they can take care of the child better than I can. Huge, huge, huge decision, and painful in many ways. It was a 6-month-long process, by the way. It wasn't people. And then my regular clients were like, "How can you do this to us?" I'm like, well, I'm not doing this for us, not to you. Because the brand still is there for you. And if I didn't do that, it wouldn't exist. Like, it would have died, I would have died, like both of us. In fact, I told my husband one time, around that time, we were like struggling. And I was like, you know what? If somebody tells me, those garbage trucks that pick up taka, I'm like, if you tell me go live in there for 3 months, only in there, you have to do everything in there and eat in there, and all this will disappear, I would do it. Yeah. So it was
what we call hustle dilemma. That is hustle delusion.
Yes, exactly. And so it was a deep decision to make, even for on their end, taking on a brand who they don't even know if it will work or not. And then so that's, I think, part one of the story, which I don't know if I've talked too long. Because there's still so much more to tell.
I think your pivot into, you're willing to trade off the noise to be in a garbage truck. That, I think, summarizes a lot of problems.
to live in there.
Sometimes you wake up and say, hey, I think this is enough. You want a place quiet.
Yeah.
Less is more.
Exactly.
And more is less.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I think less is more and more is less. Sometimes just say, let me just do less. For bigger value.
For the sake of survival, literally, mine and the brand. And that was it. It was my ultimate decision. No one else around me had the top decision to make. So but it was the better one.
And you're here, looking healthy, looking happier, and willing to share your story.
Yeah.
We have to deep dive.
And that is so part one.
And I hope you're willing to deep dive later on that one. Because
Definitely.
we will come back to that.
Definitely.
Most leadership programs are built for stable systems, clear rules, predictable institutions, high trust.
What are high trust environments? It's a handshake, it's a table.
But that's not the terrain most leaders are operating in. Here, trust is fragile.
We cannot accept this brand because it doesn't have the word insurance.
Power moves informally, institutions are uneven, capital is asymmetrical. And growth, succession, or visibility doesn't always reduce risk, sometimes it increases it. In these environments, leadership failure rarely comes from lack of intelligence or effort. It comes from poor judgment under pressure. When the terrain is misread, even capable leaders make costly, irreversible decisions not because they are weak, but because the system they are operating from is incomplete. The African Founder Operation System, AFOS, was built for this reality. AFOS is not a course, it is an operating system for leadership under pressure. It is designed to help leaders think clearly, decide deliberately, and act with integrity.
The genesis of this conversation is around understanding what keeps founders breathing and moving and not giving up.
When the environment itself is unstable,
Mr. Karaoke,
Yes.
tell me, tell us here in this founders world, what's up?
Yeah. So my background is effectively almost perfectly correlated with this topic, because I'm quintessentially a lazy entrepreneur. And it sounds bad, but from a fairly young age, I didn't understand. Like, my mom was very sarcastic whenever she saw you doing something pointless. And she'd ask you, why are you mark timing? So if I've read a book at home, and she sees me reading it again, she's like, is there something you didn't understand, or what's going on? And then it's coupled with the fact that I have ADHD. So I've never done what I'm supposed to do. So, I left high school, went to study chemical engineering, but I was working full-time selling virtualization. When I started working on virtualization, I started thinking about entrepreneurship because the day job was boring. And it's always caused some conflict in the places where I'm working, because to everyone I'm costing. Like, I've historically never made an effort to look like I'm working. It seemed pointless. And so the people I'm working with have always had this frustration, which is amplified if I have better outcomes than they do. And it's not until 2015 when a friend of mine recommended a book, and it was a book on conflict, that I finally understood what was going on. And the book effectively deals with a Greek mythology problem. So during the Trojan War, there was King Agamemnon, pronunciation defeats me a bit. And then you had Odysseus, Achilles was killed in battle, and Ajax. Ajax was a workhorse. He was the guy who got everything done on time. The people who make the trains run on time. Odysseus was the crafty little guy. And so when Achilles died, they needed to give Achilles' armor to somebody to honor him. And the king sort of defaulted to committee to decide who to give it to. But the core problem was Ajax was like, he's there strong as an ox in battle with his people. And Odysseus is goofing around, but Odysseus is the one who comes up with the idea of the Trojan horse. So he's the one who wins the battle. Without Odysseus, you don't win the battle. But without Ajax, you also don't win the battle. But it is easier to replace Ajax than it is to replace Odysseus. And the sort of weird way my mind has worked has always sort of given me a lot of grief, but it's also allowed me to make tremendous steps in places where other people otherwise wouldn't. So in 2012, when I was starting my first company, no one thought it was possible to sort of have automated cloud infrastructure on the continent. We were the first on the continent. It was sort of like this contrarian approach where, okay, people are saying it can't be done, but I still don't have an answer as to why not. And then you sort of focus and you get it done and you move on. The first company hit some headwinds. It was sort of the first time I was fired in my life. So it was like I worked to get myself fired from a job, which was to me a bit insane. Then the next time, the next startup, ended in equal chaos. And I remember one of the fights we had was around the approach to tech. And my then business partner was a rote person. He wanted to do the same thing over and over to lead to success. And I was the one baking pies in the sky. The only problem is my pie materialized, and that led to conflict. And then, come 2020, I started another company. But, it was sort of like just at this point, it was survival, because at that stage, I didn't know what I had wanted to do with the rest of my life. At that point, I'd started 2 businesses. The outcomes had been problematic. I didn't feel like I had the motivation to sort of start another company with the objective to scale it. So I started it, and the whole idea was, okay, I need to pay bills. I need to survive. And next thing I knew, 5 years had passed. And now is when I'm finally thinking about the next stages of my life.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So we'll come back to that, but that's an interesting conversation in terms of how just 5 years can go.
Yeah.
5 years is a half a decade.
Yeah.
You can find yourself looping.
Yeah.
So I think interesting as you guys talk about that, it's giving me some sense of reflection. Even in my own life, I think it's about how we deep dive in the next conversation. For me, the way I look at it, I think there was one day a realization. I was playing golf, and I remember, you know how you hit the ball into the woods. I remember playing, and there I was looking for my ball. It was lost. Okay, and I was so caught up in the ball, I never saw the ants. So the ants got into my
Pants.
into my pants. So before I knew it, in Limuru, I was removing my pants. And the ball was no longer important. I was looking at my other assets.
The other ball.
Those assets, now I figured out, oh my God. So I realized, all of a sudden, I don't know, the next hole, as I played, I thought to myself, the ball was no longer relevant. It is my other assets that twined, the ants thing. Then I figured out, my God, sometimes you could be doing something over and over, you're not realizing, you're not really moving forward. Now I came back to my life, and I remember that's a pivot I made in my life. What had happened as a technology business, I started a tech business 7Cs. But what we do would take vendors, big vendors, some of these infrastructure vendors, software vendors, who the Bill Gates and the Larry Ellison of the world, those guys have built technology products. So they've taken time to think. And they have come to Africa and said, there must be a guy called Mike who is ambitious enough who will go and sell gospel of my product. The guy is seated somewhere in America. He doesn't even know there's a guy called Mike. So I work hard. I go and convince corporates. Some of them have thrown me out. There's Madarao here. Eventually, I close some corporates, the big ones. They start using the product. Remember, the guy there even does not even have an office in Kenya, right? I have had to train people. I go to Silicon Valley. So I'm thinking, my God, I'm moving. I'm cooking this thing. Is that correct? But when I go to Silicon Valley, I look at the buildings, the estates. I look at this guy as a campus. This guy, I'm selling his idea. He doesn't even know me. When I come to Africa, I sold this thing to, let's say, the large telco, large banks. The moment we are big enough, I've worked so hard and brought significant revenues and recognition of these brands. Those same brands come and open offices in Kenya, right? They take the employees who are hired from university, right, and hire them. Then I'm left back. I said, hey, I worked so hard. I thought I was burning. I thought I was moving. All of a sudden, somebody has chopped me, right? And now all of a sudden, I'm thinking, I'm rebuilding something from scratch, yet I'm the one I thought I was building incremental value. It happened to me once. It happened to me twice. It happened to me 3 times. But yeah, top line revenue are growing, right? But every time you grow a new brand, new guys come on board. Then I told myself, I think there has to be a point where this has to stop. I also realized customers are willing to churn away from you as quickly as possible if they find you don't bring value in the ecosystem. And for me, I think the take out of this is when I turned around to figure out the hustle was actually a delusion because I was busy. I was busy representing brands. They would call me, where haven't you trained your people? Why have you done this project like this? They hire some people. My classmates, I'm in school with them. I'm the one who is an entrepreneur. The employees of this big multinational, they're paraded like they're my bosses. Where am I do? Where are you? Why aren't you doing? I said, where? If you lose this job, you'll come and work for me. Stop jokes. And it happened many times. Yeah. They lost the jobs, they came back to work for me, right? So what happened is I learned that hustle, we were building but not building anything. You're building what we call incrementally. You're trying to, then we moved we moved into vertical industries, like healthcare. You say, let me now transform healthcare. But again, you still don't own a healthcare product. You go and present these large multinational companies who are extremely, I would tell them, they're extremely brutal and capitalistic. It's working for them today. If you're there and they need you, they'll work with you. When they don't need you, they don't need you. So again, you start realizing, oh, so does it mean when you have a big brand name, you cannot misbehave? They misbehave as good as no brand name. They'll throw you out of the window if they don't need you. But yet you're the one who helped them get into the market. So I found, again, have I solved any problem? Yes, I've solved a problem in the short term. But if these guys were to disintermediate you out of the loop, they will remove you from the loop. Please understand that. Always remember that. So I said, now, how do I start building my own intellectual property? Because the only way to survive out of this is start building your own IP. Because if you don't build your own IP, the only way, you see, if every day I wake up and build my own IP, if every day employees come and they help me build IP, even if they leave, I've got incremental growth. Kama kujenga nyumba, unajenga one floor, hata fundi akitoka ende, even if the fundi comes and leaves, he has built for you one floor. So I've changed my mentality to say, so long as you're with me, so long as one floor has gone up, or 2 floors have gone up, you say you're leaving. I say, no problem. At least I've got 3 floors up. Because when Taj Mahal was built by people at different layers. Is that correct? So constantly is to ask yourself, are you just doing things for the sake of? Because it's like every day, if you're not, you can either be building every day, step by step, or every day you come and demolish. So every day you're not growing, because as people leave, the same floor remains as floor 1. But now it's to ask yourself as a business, am I incrementally growing? Both mentally, physically, and also based on your experiences. So that's I think, my first jump into this, realizing I was very busy, but very busy asking myself, doing what exactly? So today I'm in an IP building business. So anything I choose to do, if it's not incrementally adding value, even 1 stone, 1 block of stone, if the fundu comes to my life doesn't add 1 stone, even if he leaves after 4 stones, at least he put 4 stones. Correct? Sometimes you realize the guys coming in and out of your life, but the 4 stones, they keep removing stones, you're not growing. The floor remains 1 floor. So you have to ask yourself, am I growing step by step? And I think as a country, when you talk about a hustler, when we talk about being a hustler nation, we have to ask ourselves, are we building floor by floor? Are we just remaining marginally builders? We go to China, we import all of us. Are we really moving forward?
Hey, Mike, you're talking, I'm just hearing bulbs, because there's a famous saying that says, falling has the delusion of flying. So when you are falling, if you look, you're in the air, you're falling, you're dropping 1,000 feet a minute. But you're in the air, you're saying, look, you're even sightseeing on your way down. That's the hustler delusion. And sometimes you have built, like, if you really critically even look at, like, your experience, like, I'll just talk about my experience. You have a delusion that everything remains constant the day you started the business. So, for example, those guys in Silicon Valley, they gave you the opportunity to resell because they didn't care if you worked or you didn't. So they're like, if you work, good enough. If you don't work, come see. And you mentioned going for a telco. And I'll tell you a story how we went in when I was doing that CRM, and we went into a large telco, convinced them how they were going to help us sell the CRM along with their data. Massive project. Took us about 1.5 years camping in their thing. And until one day, someone sat and said, wait, do those numbers again? But when you are insignificant and coming, everyone was quickly to sign with you MOUs. But the minute they looked at the money itself, they're like, the same guys are the ones who kicked me out as fast as possible. So we have the delusion that everything will remain constant. 2, we don't plan. So like now you're saying you're building the IP. Build the IP along with the moat. So they say, for you to have a good marriage, you have to agree on how to divorce before you get married. So you sit, you discuss the divorce, then you get married. So as you enter these contracts with me, I'll give you a scenario. I think my bastard child, number 3. We were doing.
Do they have names?
They have names. Hey, they're very close to me. They were named after my lineage. They have Kikuyu names. So we're doing travel, and what we're doing, and I bumped into this business accidentally. What we're doing is that when Uber was trying to get into the market, they were trying to get into the corporate space, and those days. So there was a gap where the only way you could pay for corporate was using a card. Now, by law, NGOs are not allowed to own a credit card. So we took a card, build the card, and then build the NGO with 100 bob on top. Just doing nothing, just swinging it like this. So it went. Now I said, hey, now I told you flying as a fear of, you think you're flying. So what worked for one customer, we thought it would work for the next customer. And we got one big customer, a massive customer, a guy with over 10,000 employees. We were calculating if everyone chapas how many rides a month. I was like, this George is gone. He's just falling. He's not flying. Let me tell you. So they start, and then now you start. Now I'm saying this hustler mentality. Instead of sitting and de-risking the business and building a moat, what is your IP? All we did was start adding more and more and more. So what do? You pay for them, you bill for them. No, you're paying. You don't have money to pay. So you're raising money from people. You pay, these guys pay. The unimaginable happened. A company that size went into distress. Mm-hmm. My friend. You as in that flying, you just hear the engines go off. The lights, the seat belts, science carbon. It unravels so fast. But anyone had I taken the business to somebody and said, okay, critically tell me, where is the divorce coming? No one ever sat. I never sat, and that's the thing with being a hustler. The hustler is so content with the profit and the idea that he's not investigating the longevity, where the bullets are coming from. Because right now, and that's why I'm very happy to come here and share this, I tell you, sit and look at your business and say, if what would change, and if it changed, what would collapse? So that you can see them coming. So that now you stop, because we are essentially giving credit, but we are not collectors. So I don't know a thing about collection. So I should have passed this business to somebody who is a lender who knows how to collect, usually a financial institution, an MFI or something. I didn't. I'm just seeing the margin. There's like 100 bob here. The fun, now, when it's fun, when you jump out of that plane and you start falling, it feels nice. You're just coasting. And I remember, like, there's a whole year. I've not gone to the office, but we are scoring profits. I've never gone to the office. I've built a dashboard. I'm watching money. Kumbe is just falling. The day it stopped, ended up in a very, very ugly scenario. And that is my child number 3. But and that's why right now, in what I'm doing, whether or not we're making significant revenues or not, every day I wake up and I ask ChatGPT, tell me what will go wrong. Every day I de-risk my business. And I make sure what I can do. And that's what I'm saying. The hustler delusion is chasing the opportunity. And you can find so many people. And then, and really, I think we don't understand the smallness of our market. So you sit, and if you sit among entrepreneurs, especially us who are in tech industry, if you sit among most entrepreneurs, they will sit and quote Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, Bill Gates. Those guys are in a market you can't fathom the size of that economy. Like, Fire sells virtualization. To convince a mid-sized company in Kenya to move away from QuickBooks and pay 20,000 shillings more is a series of board meetings. It doesn't. We don't think like that. So when you approach a market, I think what I would say is very important is that don't think you can work hard enough to create the next Facebook, the next Oracle. You have the market and the opportunity, and then there's culture. Like now, one of the things that not paying you in Kenya has no redress. There's no redress. By the time you go to court to sue that guy, first of all, the lawyer himself, only the lawyer will make money in this whole game. By the time they pay you, you'll have died in this thing. And I know, Mike, your first testament to this story, how to get back paid. So there are things that you have to look at and plan for in this cycle. Like, where are they going to get you? And then how do you protect yourself?
Wow, interesting. Because in one way, you've really looked at it in a very scientific, but also very practical way, which I think is interesting. Is being busy every day being busy, chasing money, where they're going to get paid, is being busy doing bad things.
Yes. And that they are paying.
Yeah.
It's like a bad, it's like, so you're getting rich in a bad project. And so that's a hustler delusion. So, but it's working. And the one thing, so there's a thing here which it had you done and perfected, which in an initial space has no much profit. It has a very long longevity. So for example, if you're tender chasing, right, from the government, all it takes is a cabinet secretary to be fired.
Yeah.
And your whole business model has collapsed. So you have perfected the art of talking to this guy. You know the names of his kids, you whatever, you're always at his funeral, his gatherings, and all these other things. That guy utters a wrong statement somewhere randomly. He's fired the next day. Everything you've been calling hustling. You like the moat, there's no moat. And every day, and the mistakes I've been making is now when that moat happens, instead of coming back to innovate on this thing, the temptation of the hustler is that we need to get back quickly to profit, not to quickly fix what was. So how do we continue where we can survive the cabinet secretary being fired? It's quickly go and do another one, but you're not looking for the moat. So we don't innovate in the business. We innovate a new innovation. And you're not innovating a new innovation, you're just innovating a new way to make money.
Yeah.
We are our own cast. If you look at the guys who've really succeeded, it's people who've done something better each time over a long time.
And that's actually very interesting as we even move to Suzie or karaoke. You know, you come from a point where you're a business to business relationship. And it's very different when you're business to consumer relationship. So I'm very keen to understand in a business consumer, when do you know this is BS? Is enough is enough? And when George, you said something very interesting, and my personal testimony to this is, in a B2B, is the amount of emotional engagement and investment you have with the gatekeepers. And when these gatekeepers move, you sleep in bed for 1 week, thinking, my God, what was this investment for? Now, how do I rebuild it? Is that correct? And being able to know I need to stop building my business around these gatekeepers. Because, it's easy. The hustle looks easy when you're around gatekeepers. But when the gatekeepers move, you realize, as you said, there's no moat. So what was your business really? Was it a gatekeeper business? Or what business was it?
Most leadership programs are built for stable systems, clear rules, predictable institutions, high trust.
What are high trust environments? It's a handshake, it's a table.
But that's not the terrain most leaders are operating in. Here, trust is fragile.
We cannot accept this brand because it doesn't have the word insurance.
Power moves informally, institutions are uneven, capital is asymmetrical. And growth, succession, or visibility doesn't always reduce risk, sometimes it increases it. In these environments, leadership failure rarely comes from lack of intelligence or effort. It comes from poor judgment under pressure. When the terrain is misread, even capable leaders make costly, irreversible decisions not because they are weak, but because the system they are operating from is incomplete. The African Founder Operation System, AFOS, was built for this reality. AFOS is not a course, it is an operating system for leadership under pressure. It is designed to help leaders think clearly, decide deliberately, and act with integrity.
The genesis of this conversation is around understanding what keeps founders breathing and moving and not giving up.
When the environment itself is unstable,